Edward Snowden, right, the fucking hero that man is, literally was facing the death penalty for revealing that.
And probably worse, honestly.
Like, we knew that was happening on like a fucking Wednesday.
Yeah.
And like, what?
Mhm.
But, a big fan of government surveillance, actually a very large proponent of government surveillance.
One could almost say a gigantic proponent of government surveillance.
Yeah, but not as gigantic as...
We're introducing the wrong guest.
I was going to say that, James. I was going to say not as gigantic Joe.
You ruined the flow, man.
Well, that's my job. But yes.
Yes.
Alex Jones.
I'm going to start paying that GPT bill.
A giant proponent of government surveillance. I hate to even say that in a, like, yeah, I don't like this man at all. Horrible, despicable human being. Alex Jones, we all know him. We all hate him. Got consumed by a woke onion.
A onion, if you will.
Yes, a onion. And, he is the former host of Infowars. And The Onion is a very popular liberal, progressive satire magazine first and then social media. And they now basically control his show. So we're going to hear a little bit more about that.
Yep.
Yeah. So The Onion, this is actually the second time they're about to control Alex Jones's intellectual property, if you can call it that, in massive.
I was going to say there's not much intellectual property there.
Not much intellectual in the property.
I will actually argue that man is much smarter than he appears, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah,
drugs and alcohol dulled the brain, though.
No, I have a theory about this. We'll get into that in a second, though. But first, let's see what the new update is about The Onion owning Infowars.com.
Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones is vowing to fight a new deal. It would let the satirical website The Onion take over his far-right media company, Infowars. If the deal is approved by a Texas judge, it would force Jones out. NPR's Tovia Smith reports The Onion wants to turn Infowars into a parody of itself.
The deal is backed by the families of those killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting who sued Jones for defamation after he spread lies that the families faked the deaths of their children to boost support for gun control. One of their attorneys, Chris Maddie, says under the deal, The Onion would mock Jones's brand of conspiracy theories on his own platform.
When Infowars finally goes dark, the machinery of lies that Jones built will become a force for social good.
Jones immediately accused The Onion of trying to steal his identity and asked his followers to help support his fight by buying what he said may be his last run of Infowars merch. Even if the deal is approved, Jones would still be able to broadcast from a different studio under a different brand name. Tovia Smith, NPR News.
I think it's so funny that every time disaster strikes, he's like, buy merch, buy supplements, buy Alpha Brain. Like...
Yeah, first of all, this is definitely not the last time he'll be selling that merch. They have the chance to do the funniest thing ever. If that bitch is desperate enough for money, to just say, why don't you stay on, but you're going to be part of the parody now. Because then they don't have to use AI, which
I bet he'd do it
anyway.
I bet he'd do it.
He probably is. He's probably desperate enough to be like, whatever. It's a job.
I mean, yeah, after all that he owes those families, like... Yeah. I forgot exactly what the number was, but it was gigantic.
I can't even begin to put myself in their position, but however, I do feel like that would be some kind of cosmic justice to have him actually be forced to do the parody of himself for The Onion. Like that's worth its weight in gold.
And I'm going to do a little prediction of what AI program James is going to say. I don't think he actually believes the stuff that he's saying, so I don't think it would be difficult for him.
No, probably not.
I live in the middle of nowhere and somebody slaps Infowars.com signs on all the traffic signs around here. So it'd be absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Don't know who, but there's exactly one conspiracy theory that I believe in, and that's the meta-conspiracy theory. There's two kinds of people. You either trust the official statements or you don't, generally, right? And as long as you trust the official statements and approved sources and, experts in the field, there's a wealth of like information to go off of. There is a lot of peer-reviewed literature. There is a lot of people debating the nuances of that same topic, right? You can pretty easily find out if whatever idea you have is accepted by the consensus or not. But if you stop agreeing with the official statements, you don't have any of that anymore. You don't have anybody to have a rational debate about what's true or what's false. So my theory is that the moment you start questioning the government, you try and find people that are critical of the government, you are going to find yourself on Alex Jones's show. Or you're going to find yourself watching Alex Jones, who discredits everything just by his presence. The amount of times that man has said something that has just the tiniest nugget of truth in it, but expressed in such a way that it's completely misleading and useless, like his gay frogs rant, famous one everybody knows.
That's
It was
true.
They're turning the freaking frogs gay.
It's true.
exactly. It was chemical runoff from some plant that was producing some shit that turned some of the frogs hermaphroditic. It's a fucking we don't have a strong enough EPA problem, but he's framing it as Obama's doing it to make your kids gay. Like you start questioning the sources, you find yourself listening to Alex Jones. None of your opinions are worth anything anymore.
There's people like Alex Jones and like all the COVID truthers and all that are like, they'll ignore real conspiracy theories with actual evidence in favor of their made up kook bullshit.
I don't know if that's
like, for example, look at the Epstein class. The Epstein class is a great example of this. You would think that a global pedophile ring would be conspiracy theory, massive conspiracy theory. Crazy
it is their conspiracy theory,
but it's happening, and yet they're still talking about like they're ignoring the Epstein stuff and still focused on like the Pizzagate bullshit and all that, which didn't happen.